Hey there guys, AW here, Aaron War Order. Bringing you a live stream on Thursday, the day before Christmas Eve. So today's the 23rd, tomorrow's the 24th. It's a Thursday stream. This stream is not a Marvel, DC, wrestling, whatever. It's a TV show stream. And it's going to be based on the latest season of The Witcher. Season 2 review is spoilers. Spoilers could contain spoilers. If you read the books or played the video games, you pretty much know what happened. But if you haven't, I'm going to try to explain it to you. It's very complicated. Season 1 might have been difficult for people who didn't understand The Witcher because there's a lot of time jumps. Season 2 doesn't have the time jumps. Season 2, actually, the storyline was actually linear. Was a linear storyline, so they didn't have any time jumps. And yeah, so now let's get this out of the way. Witcher Season 2 is based on the books, not the video games. So 1, 2, and 3 video games, it's not based on them. I think in the future seasons we'll get into the video game section of the franchise, the lore, because that's where it's heading to. Now, I gotta tell you something. It's based on the books, okay? It's based on the books. But not everything is accurate from the books. There's a lot of changes in the season from books to from the books. A lot of them. And if you're a Witcher guy, if you were a book reader of The Witcher, or if you're even a video game person, you'll notice the changes in the books and in the show. Books, games, and the show. You'll definitely notice a change. If you're completely naive to The Witcher, yeah, you're not gonna know the changes. But if you're not naive, then you know the changes. You'll see the changes. So the end of season 1. We are left with two things. The Battle of Sodden Hill, which the sorcerers were able, and definitely with the help of Yennefer, were able to hold off the Nilfgaardian forces. And with Ciri uniting with Geralt, the Witcher of Rivia. That's where we left off. Season 1. Season 2. Season 2 begins with Geralt and Ciri. So Geralt is protective of Ciri, has to protect Ciri from the dangers because Nilfgaardians invaded Sintra, especially Cahir. His mission was to bring the girl to the Emperor Emery. And we're gonna get to talk about Emery later, the Emperor. If you haven't played the video games or read the books, yeah, this ending of season 2, it's a twist. But if you have played the video games and the books, you saw it coming. So it's not really a spoiler to people like me. But to naive people who don't know the source material, it's kind of a spoiler. So you see Ciri and Geralt approach where the Battle of Sodden Hill, where a lot of Nilfgaardians were dead or dying, and the sorcerers, which is end the ones that are not dead. And you see, and Yennefer's not there. Trish is badly hurt, but she gets healed and stuff. So we see Gerald and Ciri pull up to where Ciri's where Yennefer's teachers, because she's the one looking for Yennefer, because she's very close to Yennefer. She sees Yennefer as her best pupil, her kind of like a mentor, as a mentor to her, to Yennefer. And they assume she's dead. The mentor to her mentor. She used to play a big role. Wow, what's her name? Let me find Yennefer's teacher's name. Tissia Del Rees. Yes, Tissia. Yes. Tissia. And as you see here, these are the three main characters of the show. This is Geralt, Henry Cavill. Ciri, like the main focus of the show. Everything kind of revolves around here. She's the main focus. And you got Yennefer. It revolves around these three characters. The show revolves around three stories, but portraying mostly the Ciri. Because in this show, Ciri is the key basically to everything. Everything. So Tissia tells Geralt that Yennefer is dead, which is not true. Yennefer is not dead. Yennefer is actually in the capture. Has been captured by the Nilfgaardians to survive the Nilfgaardians, and she's talking with Frigilla about her loyalty or stuff like that. About sides, why did she do this and that. And you have to understand, the Witcher world is very political. It's kind of like Game of Thrones, politically divided. It's kind of like that. It's like there's no true, real good governments here. Political entities here. And I gotta check my phone for a bit, guys. So, the first episode, that's kind of the first episode, but so the first episode, there's a village. There's a village, and a family of merchants come to. And sadly, no one's at this village. Something is strange about the village. There's nobody at this village. Then all of a sudden, they were attacked by a mysterious monster. A mysterious monster. So Geralt is Ciri pull up in the village. Something changed about that village. They can't take refuge in that village, but Geralt has a friend nearby who lives in a manor, and so he takes Ciri there for refuge for the night, right? For the night, to stay over the night, because he needs somewhere to stay warm. Now Ciri is a powerful being, but she doesn't know. She doesn't know how powerful she is, or like how Geralt doesn't know how powerful she is. Ciri has nightmares and stuff like that. It's because she's a very hot commodity, if you ask. So they go to the village. And greeted by a friend, Geralt's friend, played by, where is he? I have it here. Let me look for this guy. This is Nivellen, I think his name, played by the actor who played Tormund in Game of Thrones. Now his backstory is a very tragic one. He's been cursed, kind of Beauty and the Beast kind of way. Been burst. Only way for him to break the curse is the death of a loved one or something like that. And he has magic. He lets Ciri and girl stay to catch up. Well, he sounds cheerful and happy. He's very. The truth of the matter is, he's very lonely because of this. Unfortunately, Ciri hears something clogging the ceiling, and we don't know what it is. It could be a mouse, a mouse, cat, or something. And Geralt becomes suspicious of it later on. Geralt manages to follow footsteps that led into the village outside and sees a dead family, pieces ripping apart, and suspects a monster, possibly a Bruxa. A Bruxa is a female like vampire. Very dangerous. And so Geralt becomes suspicious of his friend. His friend tells me he once was human. He was once human. He told me Ciri that he once was human and stuff. And then during the night, Geralt goes walking by, sees the Bruxa chewing, biting on his friend's neck for blood. Bruxa kind of like a vampire to survive. And then she saw it and then a fight breaks out. She tells Ciri to run. And the thing is, the Bruxa is an interesting relationship. The Bruxa and him, they're actually kind of in love with each other. They're in love, yes. Unfortunately, she was going to go kill Geralt. So she got stabbed in the back this is outside by him. She doesn't die. She was appearing. She twists her head, her neck went like all the way around. She's gonna go kill him. She's gonna go kill him. Unfortunately, Geralt had his sword. She's able to chop her head off. And all of a sudden, he started turning back to human, but he didn't want to because he lost somebody he loved. Gerald's like, your curse is broken, and he's like, he loved the Bruxa, and the Bruxa loved him, but she's dead, and he has nobody anymore to be with him, to love him, and he wanted Geralt to kill him, put him in his misery, and Gerald's like, you could do that now. You're able to do that now. And unfortunately, it was kind of like a Beauty and the Beast. But Beauty and the Beast ended with happiness, with love, like happy ever after and stuff like that. But then in the first episode, no. It's different. Beauty and the Beast in this did not end with happy ever after. It ended in tragic. And that's the first episode. Second episode, Ciri asks, "Where are you taking me?" She's like, "I'm taking you to Cal Moran," and that's where the Witchers train. Witchers train and take refuge during the winter months, because the Cal Moran is in the mountains, around the mountains, and around the mountains, obviously, it's colder and there's snow. Now, the Brotherhood. Now, there's a political play of the Brotherhood. They don't trust each other. You got Vigorford, the other guy, Strigmar, I forget his name. Tissa. They really don't trust each other. Like, there's a political divide in the Brotherhood of Sorcerers. They're aligned with the Northern Kingdoms, okay? The Brotherhood of the Sorcerers are aligned with the Northern Kingdoms. That kisses a bunch of kingdoms and aligns with each other. In the second episode, we still see Yennefer being captured by Rafria, and she's unfortunately, Yennefer has lost her power. She can't use magic. It doesn't. And that's one of the things that's different from the books. She does not lose her magic. So, on his way to Cal Moran, they arrive at Cal Moran, and he tells him, how many witchers are there? He says there used to be 20, but now maybe less. And that's because of something that happened. Vesemir will tell him. So he takes her into Cal Moran. Bunch of witchers there. You got Lambert, and there's Vesemir. Vesemir, right here. Where's Vesemir? Vesemir. Who kind of is a father figure to Geralt and the rest of the Witchers. He's the veteran, like the older veteran, the wiser, the more experienced one of the group. They all welcome and, well, they kind of don't really welcome Ciri that much. He tells them why he needs to protect her and stuff like that, because of what she is, and what they don't know about her. Because she's like my thumbnail says, she's a child of destiny, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that. And all of a sudden, the door opens, and here comes Esco. As you see on the left, and on the right. Now, in the video game, he's a very in the books and the video game, he's a very different character. He's nice, polite, and stuff like that. He doesn't look like the guy on the left, very scarred, like he looks like a jackass, a jerk. He's still friends. He's friends with Geralt, but he has certain arrogance to him. So that's one of the other changes about the book and the video game series to this TV show. He was there to play an important role. Now with Yennefer, and she didn't trust Ciri. He didn't trust Ciri. He was kind of a jerk. And he did bring in a monster. Well, not really a monster, but a piece of a monster. A hand of a monster called Valentian, I think. It's kind of a tree monster. Kind of. But it has vines and stuff, and it can attack you from all different places. Because it's like a tree, so it just grows like this. Right? And the vines come from there, wherever. But he just had the hand, not the whole monster. He does play an important role in this episode. He does. A very important role. Okay, so if all of a sudden the Nilfgaardians got attacked by a mysterious group, we don't know who the mysterious group is, and they captured both Fernina and Yennefer, and they put them in not a cage, but kind of like a not a box, but kind of like a crate, I guess, a big enough crate to hold both of them in, and they're being carried out on carried out. And we don't. And it's been revealed that the who attacked the Nilfgaardians were the elves. Now the elves really hated the humans. They hated the humans, especially the northern kingdoms. They hated the humans. Elves were treated like since the humans came, the elves were treated with disrespect, like second-class citizens. Hated him, especially the sorceress and the elf queen Francesca. She despised the humans, like with a passion. She'll do anything for the elves. And it hasn't been really a pure elf baby in a long time. Like, the elves had to mix, breed, and stuff for the race to survive. She hated humans. She wanted to take back and give the elves a land of their own. And it turned out Yennefer was part elf, like little small part elf. They didn't believe or care, and they sent both of them back to the tree where Philip, I think it's Philip, another elf who actually is it? Who I think actually becomes a friend of Geralt or something like that. Let me make sure. What's his name? Any humans hated elves too. Let me make sure. I'm looking this up. He's the one with the cat, the contest. You have a cat here. Let me sure. Whatever. I'm sorry. My fault. Yeah, he doesn't let them go. Okay. We get to the Witcher. And then at Calmore and all of a sudden Esco invites a bunch of women to party with the Witchers. Drink, dance, obviously sex. Unknowingly, Esco has been affected by the legend. A legend could affect you, and if you get affected by the legend, you end up becoming one yourself. Now, while this is happening, before Vesemir told him the history, told Ciri the history of the Witchers, and his mentor Declan, I think it is, and he told him how what happened to how the Witchers were almost wiped out years ago while he was a younger Witcher, and this was in the blood of the Nightmare of the Wolf animated movie that came out in August. It was explaining that when there was a younger Vesemir, and how there's one of his sorcerers was so determined to wipe him out, the hatred for the Witchers. She almost did, but they managed the Witchers managed the few remaining Witchers managed to survive. Vesemir managed to take in the younger Witchers, and Geralt was one of them. So he told her the story about that. Go watch Nightmare of the Wolf. It explains that even more. And Vesemir is so passionate about the Witchers. Like Witchers is his being a Witcher and caring for the Witchers is his life. He's dedicated to it. Well, Geralt is too. Not to, but Vesemir hasn't taken more to heart because from the life he grew up from, because he was a servant boy. Okay. Then all of a sudden, Eskel takes this woman to not part of the Calmoran, another room in Calmoran, and Calmore was not the nicest place, not the cleanest place. The rooms you sleep in are not the nicest or cleanest. So he takes her to this place. Doesn't take her to a room, but he takes them into I think it was a laboratory. There's a laboratory in Calmoran where they operate on monsters and potions. There's different kind of potions and formulas because sometimes you need it to combat some monsters. Took her to that place, and they're gonna. All of a sudden, stuff is going wrong. Stuff isn't going wrong. Your screams and stuff, and the witches are all searching what's happening. And then you see Geralt finally find what's happening, and there's a legend, and he was fighting, and he knows Esco. So Esco has become a legend, a tree-like monster, not like from Lord of the Rings. Tree-like monster. He didn't know what it was. And Vesemir comes in, and he knows it's Esco, and he said, He was like, Esco, stop. We could try to cure you. He wasn't listening because, of course, not. He wasn't listening, and unfortunately, Geralt was able to light his blade on fire, his sword on fire, stick in the side of it of Eskel as a legend, and finally kill Eskel, and Eskel is dead. Eskel is dead. Now in the books, in the movie, in the video games, he's not dead. He's actually alive. But in this case, he served a purpose for a literary cause, but he's dead. And each Witcher has kind of like a medallion on their neck. And there's a tree in the main hall of Calmoran where there's a bunch of medallions. All those medallions represent a fallen Witcher. So once Eskel is dead, they took the fallen medallion and they put him on that tree to honor Eskel. And also, yeah. Also with the elves, the Elvish Queen Francesca asks them to bring back the two sorcerers because they confronted what appears like a tomb or some sort to a dimension or something, and they go in, and there's this demon woman, sorceress, demon woman, witch, trying to feed off their pain. Francesca wants a baby. Yennefer wants to be more powerful. She rejects it. And Frigida wants to help out the elves. And what happens is Frigida wants to help out and stuff. She wanted more power. She did get more power. She becomes a bigger influence in the Nilfgaardian army. And she does develop, her and Francesca do develop a relationship, a friendship. And she's the one that got Nilfgaardians and the elves a potential partnership, alliance. And then because Nilfgaardians took over Sintra, and that's where the elves head to Sintra. Yennefer is free, and she went back to where the Brotherhood of Sorcerers are. And we get to episode 3. No, not to episode 3. Episode 3. Geralt and Vesemir were studying on we're studying the lantern. And how is this possible? The lantern has been seen in years and years, and I'm like, it was questioning like how? Yeah, they're like, how is this possible? Like that's a very rare thing, like to happen. And then Yennefer arrives back to Sodden, where the brother of sorcerers, and Tissa was so happy to see her. And then she went to relax, take a pool with a bunch of other sorcerers. Triss was one of them. Triss, who now has longer red hair. Like, I'll show you. Triss. Right here. And they use her magic to help warm up the pool. Unfortunately, Yennefer can't because she lost her magic. And they question how she survived. And Kahir, one of the generals who went over to Sintra, was tasked to bring Ciri to the Emperor. And we'll get to the Emperor. Was caged in the Brotherhood of Sorcerers were divided, and they wanted to see Yennefer's loyalty because she is part elf, and hearing about the alliance between Nilfgaardians and elves, the Northern Kingdoms, what they did to the elves, we'll get to that later. They wanted her to execute him, right? Execute. So we get to Ciri in what's his name? Ciri and Geralt out and about. And all of a sudden they counter the legend. Well, no. Vesemir and while Vesemir's operating on the Esco legend, Geralt's like, there they go, let him rest. So they bring him out to this area, by a nice area where there's water and stuff, and they lay him down, take his medallion, look over him, honor him, and then they let him rest for the wolves to eat on his dead carcass. Then Ciri and the thing is, Ciri wants to fight. She wants to be brave, and she told you know what? Gerald's like, you gotta fight. You gotta learn to fight and stuff like that. She basically said, you should learn to fight, and she took it to heart. She started to learn to fight with a wooden blade on a dummy, and she was struggling. She was struggling at first. Her balance was off. She was struggling. She's a rookie, and then they counter. Later in the episode, they counter the legend, and start fighting the legend. All of a sudden, the legend gets split by in half by another monster. It looks like a giant bug-like ant monster. I don't know what it is. And he tells Ciri to run. He gets blasted back. Ciri once, and it starts chasing him. It starts chasing her. As it gets close to her, that's when Geralt manages to catch up to Ciri and that monster and chops the head off. And the thing is, that monster was extinct, was rare. It's a rare monster that hasn't been around in years either, like the legend. Something is not right here. These monsters that haven't been around are extinct, are coming back. Something's not right here. And it all ties into Ciri. Now, at the execution scene, where it proves her loyalty to the kings of the north, she executes Cahir. Before she knows, she chops off the chains, and he runs, and he follows her, and now they're on the one together, and she's considered she committed kind of treason against the sorcerers of Brotherhood, the Brotherhood of Sorcerers. And now they went into was it Oxenberg? They end up in Oxenberg together, and they have to team up. Yeah, kind of have to team up to survive. And so we get to episode 4. Now Lambert is the type of person that gives people a hard time, and Ciri wants to prove toughness. So she kind of, you want to prove how tough you are. So they go to this obstacle course, where the things go back and forth to knock you off, or there's like I don't know what it is, kind of like a spin around thing. It has a sharp blades, and there's like you have to do a jump to get to this ladder and stuff. And okay, that's a little bit later on. But episode 4, we get the opening sequence of somebody in jail. and all over the cell there's pinned dead rats. Yeah, and you get this woman telling like, how do you feel about getting revenge on Geralt and bring the woman the Sintra and Ciri. And it's like, no, not this is not Nilfgaard asking you, and this is the character of Rince right here. This is episode 5. Okay, we'll get to later to that. Episode 4. So Yennefer. Okay, here. You do end up getting betrayed by this woman who says to hide him out by the Northern Guards. So at this point now in Oxenford we see the elves being chained up, being wrapped up, being kind of like, yeah, chained up and wrapped up by the northern soldiers in Oxenford and other cities because of the elves. So Francesca making an alliance with Nilfgaardians, and Nilfgaardians and I froze. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna end it here. I'm not in the mood, guy. I mean, I feel alright. I feel fine. It's just I don't feel like this is a good broadcast. I'm gonna end it here. Sorry, guys.